I've seen many different comments on my idea of a free online educational system. Some were just blatantly dismissive, like Dennis Kucinich and others who have heard it understand the idea of an online school works. And they can make a reasonable assumption that the costs and effects could be revolutionary in a time when we need new solutions. But the truth is, there could be no argument against placing a focus on education for all Americans. Some politicians, educators, or other interested persons would love to add to the $850 billion we currently pay to allow everyone now as attending colleges to continue to do so, at whatever cost to the state, the student, the family, or for any other reason. But America cannot afford this option, and time again, distance learning has shown itself to be just as effective as traditional means. The fact is that for every person who is given access to funding, there are hundreds more who still cannot afford today's tuition. And for every graduate, there are still more looking for re-education due to the changes in industry and personal goals. Re-education is just another issue our current school system cannot address fundamentally. We have an obligation to give responsible self-learners the means to their future, even if it comes with its own challenges. To do less is beyond contempt. Even the promise we represent, both technologically and our enduring belief that we do in fact have a real democracy, demands it. You know, this really translates into what a democracy should mean. Opportunity to participate. Everyone can participate, but in fact that's not the case. It's one of those lies. Nietzsche talked about it in his discussions. It's a token that's lost its meaning. You know, people banter it around. It's what they believe, but it's not the case. I'm sorry. We should have a resurgence, a kind of reinvigoration of the interest of democracy here in America. You know, it's in this context that, you know, our political officials should be making a pledge to build a free online university for our working poor that is similar to the $40 to $80 million distance learning programs our top universities have built for profit. And that's an important point. The money that I'm suggesting here can be raised by counties. Counties, guys. And I'm only saying that that money should be raised by our government. There should be one university. That's all we need. That's all we need for the working poor. Our government cannot, by virtue of how we have our educational system constructed, make today's tuition affordable. The universities we have now will always require more funding in the future. Currently, the $850 billion that they get annually is being raised by every presidential hopeful that they're going to get more increases. Yet, this is still going to be marginalizing the working poor, who cannot afford time away from a job, let alone take on another $50,000 to $80,000 in debt, only to give up insurance, needed insurance, and 40 hours per week that they need, 40 to 50 hours per week that they need to pay their current bills. The answer is not giving the working poor more debt or allow for less of their post-educational incomes to be taken up in student loan repayments. I'm sorry, that's an absurd suggestion that they make every year. I've not bought it. I really hope people will question that more. More money to these universities does not work. We spend more per average the student than anybody else in the world. So what are we doing wrong? I'll leave that one for the speculators. But right now, what we need for the working poor is... I've yet found anyone in the government or the media who will take this idea seriously and will champion it as an option. In a few years, I really believe it, you know, maybe a decade, this is going to come to light anyways, since it seems to follow necessarily from any discussion on technology and education. NPR